Welcome to Spotlight. I'm Karen Pelka, and I'll be speaking with Justin Westmiller. He's the Director of Homeland Security and Emergency Management. Welcome, Justin, to Spotlight so that we can talk a little bit about emergency management.
Thanks for having me. It's always great being here.
So there are some things that happened recently, as much as just literally recently this week, but there's also something that happened right before Christmas. Tell us a little bit about how we had to handle an emergency management on Harson's Island.
Sure. So Harson's Island, a little over 3 weeks ago now, had a loss of water to the entire island, loss of city water. And along with the Clay Township Fire Department, Clay Township Police, the Clay Township Township officials, and our partners with the DPW, we were able to return water service in about 4 days after the initial loss, which is really, really good. We have a unique system on the Harson's Island area where it's a pipeline underwater to feed water to the island. It's the only water pipeline we have in the county. And it's in some pretty deep water. It's about 42 feet deep at the bottom. So luckily, the break here was in 5 to 7 feet of water, and the divers were able to effect the repair in about 3 days.
So they're actually sending people down into the water to repair this pipeline.
Yeah, and as you can imagine, right, the water temp was about 30 degrees.
And that's what I'm thinking.
And they had a really cool setup where the divers had hot water pumping through their suits all day, but you still get cold. It doesn't matter how hot that water is. When you're immersed in 30-degree water for 12 to 14 hours a day, you get really cold. It makes things difficult. So this was the hardest time of year to effect a repair of that sort of infrastructure.
Just even the thought, we don't even have any comprehension of what you have to get your team to do, and the Clay Township, like you were saying. So what are some other things that you have to look for just on a daily basis? Is there anything that you have to make sure maintenance is taken care of?
So I just responded to that situation because it was an emergency, but our staff out at the EOC, we're constantly listening for intelligence for any sort of security incident or safety incident. With Homeland Security. We're also always on call for any emergency throughout the county where we would get called in to provide resources and assistance. And we're ready 24/7.
Wow. So how long have you been with Homeland Security and Emergency Management?
Yep. So I've been the director in the county for just short of 6 years now. And it's been the best 6 years of my life.
Really?
I really love this job. I love the people that I get to work with every day. And this county makes it easy to take care of people.
And we have to look out for as the river starts to freeze. And what are some things that people need to do and be aware of with our beautiful waterway?
Absolutely. So the interesting thing about really clean water like the Blue Water area has is it freezes really hard. We started to see ice come down the St. Clair River yesterday. We've got these below freezing temperatures for like the last 8 or 9 days. So there's a very good chance we're going to start seeing heavy ice in the St. Clair River, in the North Channel where the ferry goes for Harson's Island. And Lake St. Clair's already frozen over. So as we get into the heavier ice season, I just want everybody to be prepared for potential flooding, especially in the south end of the county on the water. And they're used to that, but you can never really get used to flooding, right? So just be proactive, know that our team is watching every day, and we're working with our partners in the U.S. Coast Guard, the Canadian Coast Guard, and the Army Corps of Engineers to ensure that we can keep that flooding to a minimum.
Is there anything that once those things start to happen that people need to report?
They don't necessarily need to report it. If you feel like you're getting flooding and you've got electricity or there's some sort of emergency, please call 911. Know that we're constantly monitoring the way the river flows. We're working with our partners at the Army Corps to help us understand hydrology and where we might have the worst impacts. And that's when we call the Coast Guard to come in and do ice breaking to clear that water so that we can keep the water low. Our hope and plan every year is to not have any flooding, but it's not out of the ordinary to have some flooding in that area and also in the vicinity of the Black River, Port Huron, Fort Gratiot.
Okay.
and Port Huron Township.
Okay. Is there anything else that really we need to be aware of in this season of the winter months and the frozen weather?
Yeah, so it's always hard to warm up, right? And then if we have power loss or things like that, it's always good to have a generator on hand. Please don't start those generators in your garage. Make sure that they're well ventilated. Make sure that you're using a cutoff switch so that we don't backfeed power into the line and hurt linemen. And then make sure you have what you need to be safe for the first 72 hours or so. You want to be self-sufficient, so you want to have a first aid kit, you want to have all your medications, you want to have a plan for everybody that lives in your house on what you might do in case of a certain situation. And just do what you need to do to be prepared. You can go on our website at bereadystclaircounty.com or .org, and we've got a great checklist for
Wonderful.
Emergency needs, and feel free to go there anytime.
I was just wondering about that. Is there a checklist? Is there a training? And so it's right there.
It is.
So, and it's Be Ready?
Be Ready, St. Clair.
Okay,
Yep.
wonderful.
And
Well,
it's very easy to find.
wonderful. Well, thank you for joining us today and sharing about things that are happening in our community.
It's my pleasure. Thanks, Karen.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us on Spotlight.